And a few weeks have elapsed since I begun some field identification of scarlet oak. At the time, the leaves were living up to the name. They were scarlet red and crimson and looked ablaze in color on the first few days of November. Well, this is Black Friday. It's a good day to go in the woods and not to the mall for me. So it's late November now. And I'm on a different mountain, but we've got a scarlet oak here, probably a couple feet in diameter. Again, it's similar to a red oak in the leaves and the bark, but the bark doesn't have as deep of a fissure in it. Could be confused with a pin oak, but you wouldn't find a pin oak growing on this dry hillside. This is in the Daniel Boone National Forest, the very northern end of the forest, right near the Ohio River in Lewis County, Ohio. Lewis County, Kentucky. And I'm on the Sheltowee Trace, which runs the entire length of the National Forest for over 200 miles. So this is a dry hillside facing south. And we've got the polygon shapes of the scarlet oak bark. At its base, at least, it's got those 1 to 2 inch size polygon shapes. Instead of furrows, it's more chunks. And it's sharing the hillside with some chestnut oak. I'm going to do a series on that shortly today. I've got plenty of it to work with. But I've got the scarlet oak in my view right here. And if you just bear with me 1 second, I'm going to scramble down to the acorns. I'm on a steep hillside. And that is where you often find these. Again, those leaves a couple weeks ago were ablaze in color, and it literally looked like a flame of orange and red. Well, now it's brown, but it still has that same tongues. These big notches and tongues that look like flames from a campfire. And your acorn on the scarlet oak is 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch long, is what the guidebook says, and that's what I'm finding here. Maybe an inch if you count the cap. There's a 1-inch quarter. A quarter is about 1 inch in size for scale, and they come to a narrow point. Unlike the red oak, which is longer and more oval in shape, this one is more of a cone shape at the bottom. Almost looks like a Hershey's Kiss with the wrapper still on. And to my left is a acorn from a chestnut oak, which is sharing this very same habitat. I'm going to do some more on that in a few minutes here. But a much longer acorn. It's more football shaped, even almost shaped like a small watermelon as far as the geometry goes. Kind of oval. And the texture of the acorn cap on the scarlet oak is much smoother. And on the chestnut oak, it's kind of prickly almost. So that's how you can tell them apart. The bark of the trees is not the same at all, and neither are the leaves, but the acorns are found in the same areas often. So I'm just doing a subtle comparison. They're not that similar, but since they're both growing on the same hillside, I thought I would do a comparison of the two since I could. But again, here's your scarlet oak leaf, your scarlet oak acorn, your chestnut oak acorn, in a dry hillside habitat here facing south, with soils that are probably low on the acid scale, highly acid soils.